So what I want to explore in this video today is the importance of balance in older adults. However, before we do this, let's quickly recap on the preview video that I published last week. Is this exercise or balance test as shown that can predict survival in older adults? In fact, if you couldn't successfully perform this balance test, your risk of dying within the next 5 to 10 years was doubled. Let that sink in. Okay, so let's quickly go through this study that assessed this one-legged balance test. As you can see, this is a screenshot of the publication. It was published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine just under 3 years ago. In brief, here are some of the results of this study, which are very, very interesting. You can see here that as expected, as you got older, your capacity or ability to successfully complete the test reduced or lessened, because we know that balance does get worse as we get older. So it's logical that this graph and the results were forthcoming. In regards to the probability of survival as you got older, if you could or couldn't successfully perform this one-legged balance test, this shows you what over time happens in terms of that risk. And you can see that those that couldn't successfully perform this one-legged balance test, their trajectory in terms of survival is much, much worse. So we know that poor balance is a real large significant risk factor for fall risk as we get older. Like it's pretty much definitively been shown time and time again. If balance gets worse, the risk of falls is a consequence of that. What about in terms of when someone does fall? What's one of the likely things you see as we get older? Well, one thing is hip fractures. Hip fractures are a well-known consequence of falling. What does the data say about the consequences of fracturing a hip when we were older? No, I shouldn't laugh, but the data's really frightening, and I don't want to scare anyone, but when you look at the percentages of death or dying from a hip fracture, it's alarming. We're talking 1 in 4 or 25%. So 1 in 4 people older than 45 that have a hip fracture will die within the next 12 months. So this is really, really important stuff to get out there, that we need to really focus on balance in older adults to try and really reduce these rates of hip fracture, which can lead to the person dying in the next 12 months. Let's summarize then. First, we know that the failure to execute or successfully perform a one-legged balance test can approximately increase the risk of dying in that subsequent 5 to 10 years in those around middle-aged and onwards. That can increase the risk of premature death. That's what the first thing is that we need to take home from this video. Second, we know that if there is a fall and there is a subsequent hip fracture, that a considerable number of older adults, again, middle-aged and up, 50 and up, that a lot of those will perish in the next 12 months. Hence, balance becomes an absolutely critical part of any exercise training program. That's what I want to instill as the main message from this video. Apart from this video that's been produced today, another one of interest to older adults who are looking at improving their balance, or in fact testing it, like doing something where they can ascertain, how they're going, whether it needs improvement, is this video that I produced just recently, looking at the hardest old man test you'll ever do. Now that looks at doing this test with your eyes open, and then Secondly, or the other version, which is much, much harder, is doing it with your eyes closed, where pretty much the majority of people fail. So have a look at that video and check it out. If you found this video helpful, please make sure to subscribe for more content on strength, fitness, and healthy aging. And look, if you know someone who might be at risk of falls or who could benefit from better balance, send this video their way. It could make a real difference. Let me know in the comments section how you went with the balance test. Was it harder than you expected? I'd love to hear your thoughts. And stay tuned. In my next video, I'll show you practical ways to improve your balance so you can stay strong, steady, and confident on your feet. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.